Today I'm going to show you how to put together this little chicken coop or plushie coop if you prefer, and share some building tips. I've been really excited playing in Palia since the latest patch came into existence because we have pavers for the ground and blocks to actually build structures with. There are a couple things you're going to need to get in the game if you're just brand new getting into the patch. You're going to need to go get all the pavers. Those are going to be over at the farm. There's a little register at the farm building. That's where you buy the recipes for those. For the actual building block set, which originally I thought was just coming in wood, but we also have it in stone too. You just go down to the community building, just the same place where you use the register to buy different types of houses. All the housing upgrades are there, and that is what these are considered, I guess. These are all the items I used, but you can change them up substantially. This is also in the description, just in case you want to put them together and follow along. To begin constructing the plank, all you need to do is start with the builder's small stone crate. And this just looks like a block to me, not a crate, but that's the piece that I put on the ground to kind of be the anchor. Then you add on the builder's wooden ramp, and I like the way it snaps together, and put one of the floor tiles down on the ground so that you can work on top of it. There's a good deal of flexibility with these pillars, even when they're snapped into the grid mode, so make sure you get them on top of the floor piece that you're using. They will kind of go off the edge and onto the grass, so just make sure that they're straight on top so that they're part of the unit. I do put a couple of the pillars just inside on the side where I'm going to put a little bit of a doorway just to make it look a little bit cozier. Next up is the walls. These are so easy to place because they'll snap in between those pillars really easily, and when you have everything in one little space, you can move it at the same time. Simply click on it to move. On the computer, I use the control button and then the alt button to gather the entire thing in one unit, so you can pick it up and move it over and put it right in the middle of the stone pillar. Next up, we're going to start the roof, and just like before, I'm just going to put a floor block straight down on the ground because it's easier to work. I built the whole thing top to bottom the first time around, and it was way more difficult than using this method. For this, we're going to get a little more creative. I'm going to go ahead and use the Ravenwood floor cabinet customized to autumn. Instead of keeping things snapped to a grid, which is what we've been doing so far, you're definitely going to want to hit the Z button if you're on a PC because it'll allow you to move items a little bit more freely. You're going to need that to center it because otherwise that little dresser will not center on the plank no matter what you do. Next up, I'm using two Bellflower alarm clocks, and I'm going to pivot them around so that the clock front is actually facing into the dresser. Doing this covers up the fact that it's an alarm clock at all, and what we really get is just this beautiful angle on the wood structure, which gives us kind of a roof that looks appealing on top of the coop. The next step might seem a little odd, but we're actually going to use the wood plank pavers. So these are technically meant to be a path on the ground, and I'm just going to place the middle one first, being careful so that it overflows the front of the building. I'm creating a special type of a roof. And then you're just going to go ahead and place the other four on either side. Just make these as interesting as works for you. You can vary the different actual styles of wood and the shapes and how deep or wide it is to fit however makes you happy. I really love the way that this gives us a tiny bit of an overhang, a little bit of a rain catch, and is actually a really important step to making this little coop look a little bit more like a structure. If you find that it's not lining up or that you can't get as many on, like if you can only fit 4 of them, then you're probably still in the grid. Be sure to double check and toggle that grid on or off. You need it off so that you can get the pavers placed where you want them. The last step for the roof is the Ravenwood Lantern. I really like the way it breaks up the shape of the dresser and just kind of looks like the top of a building, but there are probably a lot of cool things you could use. Then simply select the floor tile and move over. It'll snap right in place and put the roof right where you want it to be. With the roof in place, the little coop itself is done, but I really enjoyed a few more decorative elements like the little wall decor. This one's been customized to autumn just so it fits the design a little better, and then also some little pavers leading up to the walkway. I also finished it off with some hay bales and trees and just other things on the outside, but that'll depend a lot on where it's at in your world and whether or not you want to pretend like it's just for a chicken coop or if you want to make it a little house for a plushie. If you do put a plushie in it, I recommend finding one of the doormat size rugs, and you can put a little cup or bowl inside so it's like there's a little place for food and sleeping. It just looks really adorable that way. I've used my Imbra plushie because it seems like the most bird-like of the plushies that I have, and I really liked the way that the bright orange and yellow showed up inside of the little hut. This is pretty much the coolest thing. Now, if you click on either of the bottom pieces and use that Alt command, you can pick up and move the entire thing in one big chunk, including everything that's on or inside of it. And you can even turn and rotate the whole thing on an angle, which is pretty cool if you want to move it around your property and not have to build it again. You can see a little bit of the dresser if you run around the back side, but it doesn't really stand out, and I'm putting this straight against one of my buildings, so it'll never be something that I see. So you might keep where it's going to go in mind, but otherwise it works out really well. I'd really love to know if you build this or something kind of similar in your world, so be sure and comment and let us know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Have the best Palia day.